On today's action-packed episode, we'll tell you who we think are going to be the best players in the NL Central for the upcoming 2023 fantasy baseball season. Let's lock on in.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. Welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here as always with my co-host, Matthew Ane.
Yo.
You can find us on all social media platforms and podcasting apps. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball and we'll be there. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, especially on YouTube. We love talking fantasy baseball with you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more and visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. As I mentioned earlier, we're talking NL Central today, guys. And first up, got to go with those Cardinals. Matt, who we got first on that team?
Oh, yeah. We got the NL MVP here, and that's Mr. Paul Goldschmidt. And let me get his name up there for everybody. And Goldie was just absolutely phenomenal last year. I mean, of course, he won the NL MVP. But besides that, I mean, his stats are actually outrageous. I'm very blown away at his age 35 season. He had a season like this just to begin with. I figured we'd see a decline, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. He just keeps getting better every year if you really think about it. And last year was no different. At 561 at-bats, he had 35 home runs, 106 runs, 115 stolen wow, that would have been a lot. 115 ribbies and 7 stolen bases to go with that. And he batted .317. So, I mean, if he's doing this at 35, I don't see how he doesn't do this at 36. The only thing that I'm even more just a little concerned about is maybe if the injuries start coming up because he is on that older side of the ball. But other than that, I'm drafting him as my number one overall first baseman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I lied. My number 3. I changed it the other day.
There you go, brother. Fair enough. I mean, I agree with you pretty much on everything with Paul Goldschmidt there. Right now, Paulie Goldschmidt is coming off the board as the fourth first baseman at the 24th pick. I mean, I think there's top 4 first basemen when you're talking about Vlad, Freddy, Pete Alonso, and Goldie. You can't go wrong with any one of them. I have Paul Goldschmidt as my number 2 first baseman. And guys, just want to always throw that out there. If you guys, go to our website, check out our rankings, which are in our link tree, by the way. Find us everything on there. Our rankings are skewed more towards head-to-head category leagues and roto. So make sure you're taking that into account when you're looking at our rankings. But let's move on to our next guy here, and that's Mr. Nolan Arenado, another guy that's just, aging like fine wine. The transition from Colorado to St. Louis hasn't been as hard as most of us thought it was going to be for him. Had an absolute monster year last year for Mr. Nolan Arenado. He followed right behind his buddy Paul Goldschmidt. I got his stats right here for you. He played 148 games. That's Nolan Arenado again. 73 runs. 30 bombs, 103 ribbies, even chipped in 5 steals, and he hit .293. What else can you ask from Nolan Arenado? Once again, I have him at, as far as third baseman go, I have him as my number 5 third baseman, only a few guys ahead of him there, and I don't think you can go wrong taking Nolan Arenado for your fantasy drafts this year.
Yeah, no, he's going to be a stud. I'm the doubter. I had him a couple of years ago, and then I let him walk, and then, God, he just went off after his bounce back season on year 2 of St. Louis. So good for Arenado. Let's move on. I got Mr. Jack Flaherty, the man, the mission, the talent, at least so we think. The guy just can't stay healthy. He's been throwing with a torn shoulder for the last couple of years. And to be honest, I think it's affecting it. Dom and I were talking earlier, and he brought up his velos down from the 2019 season where he was throwing gas at 95 miles per hour. He's now down to 93. And he's increased his rate of increased the amount of fastball he's thrown. So that's never a good sign. On top of that, with the torn shoulder, that is going to play a difference in terms of, is he going to last the whole season? So it's one of those things where I'm just not too confident in him as a talent or as a player more, not the talent, because I just don't know if he's going to stay on the field. And last year just was not fun to have him, even when he came back. Because, I mean, to be honest, he had, 36 innings pitched. Sorry, baseball reference is just not as fun to read. But he had Jesus. Let me just read it up here. Here we go. He had a 3.41, a 4.25 ERA. He had 2 wins, and he had, 33 strikeouts. Now the strikeouts are there. That's what Jack is known for. But at the same time, I'm just not feeling if he's going to be a healthy guy. He's going to be on my phalanges list. And for anybody that hears me say phalanges, it's just me calling them injury prone. And I think this is going to be the start of something not good. So, that's Jack Flaherty for you in a nutshell.
Matt, if you could, while I'm starting to rant here, just let us know where you got him ranked, because I actually moved him down. As Matt mentioned, we were talking about him earlier today. I moved him down. I had him at 40. I moved him down 10 spots to 50 for all the reasons that Matt already mentioned. Through those, 8 starts, 9 games last year, Matt gave you the innings and the ERA, but that whip was horrible too. He had a 1.6 whip, and I mean, he did have 2 good starts to finish up the year, but yeah, so we're right. We're in sync with him. It's just it's very tough to be optimistic about Jack Flaherty's outlook for this season. If you can get him as your number 5 or 6 starter and you want to take that risk, go for it. I wouldn't pair him with somebody like DeGrom or Scherzer, though, who is also kind of injury prone. It's just tough taking all of that risk in one draft. But let's move on to a newly acquired player for the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's Willson Contreras. I'm a little bit more optimistic about Willson Contreras than Jack Flaherty. I also have Willson Contreras ranked as my number 7 catcher. So you could take him as your starting catcher, and you could definitely reap the rewards in that. I think he's going to be a lot better than he was last year, on the Cubs. Because, the Cubs don't have a great team. Those counting stats weren't as sexy as you would like from Mr. Willson Contreras. But last year, as a 30-year-old, Willson had played 113 games. He had 65 runs, 22 bombs, only 55 RBIs, 4 steals, and he had 243. Wouldn't really count on Willson for that high of a batting average. He's a 256 career hitter. So if he hits you around 250 and the upside 260 with 20, 25 bombs. But I think those counting stats for Contreras are going to be a lot better than the 65 runs and 55 RBIs. If he gets you around 75 RBIs, 70 runs, maybe 75 runs, I think it's going to be an absolute steal. Take him as your starting catcher and feel confident in it with Willson Contreras.
Yeah, no, you can't go wrong with Contreras. To be honest, he's been one of my favorite pitchers over the last couple of years. I have him ranked as my number 5th overall catcher. I think it's a great move for him. Definitely beats being on Chicago for sure. But one thing I'm going to say is, for our next question here is, where are you going to draft Corbin Burnes? But the question about that is, I have something else for you. We have a really great sponsor here, and that is FanDuel. And here at Locked On, we're super excited about our new sports betting partner, FanDuel. Download FanDuel now so that you can place your bet on Super Bowl 57 with no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Man, did those Eagles look great last Sunday. Man, I'm betting on them. Just a heads up, everybody. They're going to win that thing. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you get paid instantly. So join FanDuel now at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. So let's get back into talking about Mr. Corbin Burnes, probably one of my favorite pitchers this year. He's going to be absolutely lights out like he always is. And, man, he was lights out last year. He had 202 innings pitched last year, and he had 243 strikeouts. That's just astronomical to begin with. I mean, the guy can just, paint the corners and just really get guys out. He had a .96 whip, which was really phenomenal. He's not walking a lot of guys. And to boot, he had 12 wins, which, I mean, it is what it is. And a 2.94 ERA. I mean, what can you ask more from one of the best pitchers in the game right now? And just so everybody knows where I got him ranked, I've gotten really bullish, Dom. You may be surprised with this. He's going to be my number 1 pitcher this year.
You got him number 1?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, you know what, Matt?
I'm going to be drafting him everywhere.
I got him number 1 as well.
Oh, man. because I know he's your guy,
Yeah,
but like I'm finally on the
number
train
one as well. Yeah, it's my guy.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
room, brother. There's room. He's he's going to be 28 years old this year. Last year he finally got over that 200 innings mark. He throws a great fastball. It's just great curveball. He mixes in that slider, changeup, sinker, mix it. He's absolutely dominant. Just take him as your number one pitcher and feel very, very happy about it. But Matt, now let's transition to your boy, the other ace on the team. That's Brandon, Mr. Woody Woodruff. The sheriff, maybe that nickname will stick over here. I don't know if anyone calls him that. If they do, you could have all the credit in the world for that. But, just like Woody from Toy Story, we're going to call Mr. Brandon Woodruff the sheriff. Last year, he did deal with, Matt, what did he have again with the hand? What's it called? I can't think of the name of the injury.
Oh, man, now you got me. My wife has it, too.
It's escaping me at the moment. Yeah, right? Yeah.
I could describe it, though. So essentially what it is his fingertips get cold. And and it's with his veins, and they make his fingertips cold, which is hard to get a good grip. It is quite uncomfortable. And being that, he's on the Brewers in a colder area, it doesn't start getting warm till about mid-May. So that could be something of a problem in the beginning of the season. So, just something to look at when you're drafting Woodruff, but he's not affecting how I'm drafting him. But Dom, take it away. I apologize.
No, you're good. It's still escaping me, and I thought I was going to be able to find it, and I did not. Last year, Mr. Brandon Woodruff, he had Raynaud's. There you go. That's what it is. He had Raynaud's syndrome, as Matt described. Matt actually described it perfectly, so I'm going to leave that there. As a 29-year-old, though, last year, Mr. Woodruff, 13 wins, 4 losses, 3.05 ERA, 27 starts, 153 innings, 190 strikeouts, 107 whip. Woodruff's been a beast for the last since 2018, however long that is. I have Woodruff as my number 9 starting pitcher, which is, I think, where he's going right now in NFBC ADP over the last month for Woodruff. Pick 36. I think you could take him as your ace in most leagues. Feel very comfortable about it. I think this might be the year where he gets to 200 innings and has like that monster season. Just take Woodruff as your ace and feel very confident and happy about it.
Oh, hell yeah. He's going to be incredible. Now, let's talk about another ace, because you know what? The one thing the Brewers are not short of is pitchers, and that's Mr. Freddy Peralta. Now, everybody's probably cringing because I said this name, because if you did hold on to him last year, you scooped him up in midseason. When he came back, he wasn't so hot. And also, too, you were waiting for him all year, and he was a pretty high draft pick. So, this is where, like, hey, I'm going to give you my outlook and my expectations of what he's going to do this year, right? Because, I mean, the guy, career-wise, has just been outrageous, in my opinion. So I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm not ranking him absolutely too high, but let's see where I got him. And I got him as my number 30 overall pitcher. And I think that's a solid place to draft him, because if you look at 2021 and what he did then was just absolutely outrageous. In 144 innings pitched, he had 195 strikeouts. He had an ERA of 2.81, which is just absolutely phenomenal, and a whip of 0.97. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to have a sub-3, especially since this will be his first time back and a lot of innings going from none to a whole bunch. But what I can say is I think he's going to return that value. And at pitcher 30, he's your 2, maybe your 3, depending on how your draft went. And I'm really comfortable with that. I have no doubts in my mind that he's going to have a nice bounce back season, and he's going to be incredible. And just one last thing, so I don't go on too long and hold everybody here. He's still only 21. He's still only 21. So there's still so much more to go.
Oh, no. Well,
so it's going to be just dynasty leagues. Eat it up. That's it.
Well, Matt, I got to throw the correction on you there.
26.
Freddie's actually he's going to be 27 this year. So
20. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, well, he was 26 last year. He's going to be 27 for this season. Yeah.
I read the wrong line.
So the thing with Freddy Peralta is, as Matt, you're good, brother. You're good. He is still young, so you still want to target him. The only issue, I love Freddy Peralta. I had him as a keeper in one of my big leagues last year. He kind of let me down. The thing is that he's had shoulder injuries since 2019, right? In 2019, he had the SC joint injury with his shoulder, and that kept him out a while. Then he had the lat issue in 2022, and last year he was dealing with the shoulder fatigue, and it just just a lot of shoulder things going on there for Mr. Peralta, but the talent's there, right? Let's not knock the talent. Last year, he had a monster year, even though he didn't play a lot through the 17 starts, 3.58 ERA, 78 innings, 86 Ks, and a 103 whip. Talent is there for the kid, all the talent in the world. But the thing is, right now, he's a bargain. He's going off the board, 54th pitcher, which includes relief pitchers because NFBC, ADP does not let you sort starters from relievers. So 54th overall pitcher, pick 145. If you can get him there, that's a bargain. I'm ranking him as my 27th starting pitcher this year. I really do love me some Freddy Peralta. The stuff is absolutely elite. He doesn't throw super hard, but the breaking stuff is really where he makes his name. So, I think you take Freddy Peralta and you'd be pretty happy about it. But let's move on to our last Brewer here, and that's Mr. Willy Adames. I know a lot of people were expecting a big breakout year from Big Willie, but, he didn't necessarily do what everyone wanted him to do, right? But the bombs were there. That's what I liked. Last year, Willy Adames, 139 games, 83 runs, 31 bombs, 98 RBIs, 8 steals. Thing is, the batting average dropped from 2021, where he had 285 to 238 last year. I think he sacrificed some of that batting average for power because he jumped up, about 6 home runs, which is, that's a big drop off, from 2021 anyway. I'm not really sure what to do with Willy Adames. I mean, I like him. I'm not going out of my way to take him super early. I actually have him ranked pretty low at shortstop. I have him ranked as my 19th shortstop, and as for ADP, let's compare it there. Yeah, I'm not really big on Willy. He's going to give you the counting stats. They're going to be there with the runs and, RBIs. Bombs are going to be there too. He's going to hurt you in batting average, though. Doesn't steal a lot of bases. And shortstop's deep this year, guys. Shortstop is super, super deep. He's coming off the board as the 13th shortstop in NFBC ADP over the last month. Pick 96. I just like the guys behind him a little bit more. I like Pena better. Like Correa better. I'll even take, Ahmed Rosario over him as well. Looks like you're agreeing with me over there, brother.
Oh, yeah. I got him at number 17 overall for shortstops. So, I'm not even touching him with a 10-foot pole. If anything, he's my last pick in the draft to see, hey, is he going to be what he was 2 years ago or that he showed 2 years ago that he could possibly break out? Outside of that, I'm really not going to waste a lot of draft capital on this guy or draft him anywhere outside of a dart throw at the end. So,
yeah. Yeah, brother. With that being said, I think we're going to talk some Pirates coming up next. And how good is Oneil Cruz going to be for your fantasy teams in 2023? Before we touch on that, though, I'd like to let you guys know about the Locked On MLB Prospects podcast hosted by our colleague Lindsay. He's absolute prospect encyclopedia. Guy knows everything about prospects, and if you like us, you're going to love him. So make sure you check that out. But also, I got another little treat here for you guys. If you're like me, you got that full-time job, you're hitting the gym, you need a quick snack that isn't going to be super high on calories, but still has that taste that you're looking for. You got to try Built Bar. Not sure how Built Bar does it, but these bars taste delicious while maintaining amazing macros. What's even better is that they're healthy. Built Bars only have 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. So if you're in the gym trying to get big, you got to get that protein in, right? And Built Bars are going to do that for you. They come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. And you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. You can now get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. Man, I definitely want to try that peanut butter brownie one too. I know I was ranting about the churro one the other day, but that peanut butter brownie might be it. But with that being said, guys, let's get into those Pirates. And as I said, can't bury the lead here. Oneil Cruz is that guy. I know we talked about Oneil Cruz in our Rising Stars episode, Matt? I think that's what we called it, our Rising Star episode. So if you really want an in-depth analysis of Oneil Cruz, be sure to go back and check that one out. But Oneil Cruz, man, he had a pretty decent year last year for a rookie. 87 games, 45 runs, 17 bombs, 54 RBIs, 10 steals. He only hit 233, once again, over 87 games, but he killed it down the stretch. He was absolutely monstrous. Once again, if you want to hear all that deep analysis on him, go back, listen to the Rising Stars episode. I will say this for O'Neal Cruz, though. He hits the ball harder than anybody in baseball. He also throws the ball harder than any shortstop in baseball. He broke a bunch of StatCast records last year. I have O'Neal Cruz as my 13th shortstop off the board. The thing is I might not even be able to get him there because NFBC ADP over the last month, he's going off the board 7th out of all shortstops, pick 71. And if you want to take him there, by all means, go for it. The kid's got all the upside in the world. I think this could be his big breakout year. He's a 30-30 threat, maybe even a 40-40 threat in a couple of years. The batting average, I'm not 100% sure where that's going to wind up, but he really did from 2018 on in the minors. I'll read you off, in a row. From 2018, he had 286, 2019, 298, 2021, 310. And, I mean, the guy just goes out there and gets it done. I can't really say much more about the kid. He's going to be 24 next year. I absolutely love him. Take him everywhere if you can get him, but don't overpay by too much.
Yeah, Cruz is going to be phenomenal. But let's talk about somebody else that's kind of fantasy relevant only because we're not sure where he's going to land, and that's Bryan Reynolds. There's a lot of talk of whether he's going to be actually moved or not. Now, hoping he comes to the good old Yankees, but if he doesn't move and he gets re-signed and he ends up staying on the Pirates, I'm not going to be happy with it, truthfully. Because there's just no fantasy value because who's he going to bring home besides Cruz? And I think Cruz might be hitting behind him. So, I mean, again, it's just not that great. At 542 at-bats last year, he batted .262. He had 74 runs, 62 ribbies. And see, this is what I mean about the counting stats are just not going to be there. He had 27 home runs, which is nothing to snuff at. That's actually pretty damn good. And then, he chipped you in like 7 stolen bases. If he was on any other team, that's where I'd be like, man, this kid would be great. I think the counting stats would go way up and whatnot. So let's just see where this kid actually lands. And then we can come back and talk about him because if he does move, he's going to move up in my rankings. Right now, Reynolds is at, let's see real quick, at my 32nd overall outfielder. But again, outfield is kind of like not the greatest. So like you kind of got to deal with it. But at the same time, I'm kind of ranking him as if he is getting moved because it doesn't seem like he wants to stay. So we shall see.
Yeah, Matt, we're pretty much in sync about Reynolds. I'm a little higher on him than you. I have him as my 28th outfielder. He's coming off the board, NFBC ADP over the last month. 22nd outfielder, pick 87. He's a kind of an enigma for Reynolds. I know you were talking about the lower counting stats, but let's go back to 2021. Same Pittsburgh Pirates team. I think they've only gotten better since then, but Bryan Reynolds, 2021, 93 runs, 24 home runs, 90 RBIs, 5 steals, and he hit .302. I think there's a lot of upside with Bryan Reynolds, especially as Matt said, he might get traded. It's bullish. It's bullish if you take him as your number 2 outfielder. But if he slips a little bit, in your drafts, people, as Matt, said, aren't as super high on him because he's on the Pirates, and you can get him as your number 3 outfielder, I think that's excellent. Once again, little for Bryan Reynolds, a little ballsy to take him as your number 2, but if you can get him as your number 3 outfielder, that's definitely where I'm targeting him at the moment. But with that being said, let's move on to a young gun from he last came up, and he was actually pretty good, and that's Roansy Contreras, starting pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, he wasn't great, but he was pretty solid last year. He had 18 starts, 3.79 ERA, 95 innings, 86 Ks. He's not going to blow you away with the fastball and the Ks. 1.27 whip. I actually have him ranked. Let's see where I do have him ranked. I do have him ranked a little bit lower, but starting pitching is so deep this year. So if you can get Roansy, I have him as my 72 starting pitcher. So if you can get him as, your last starting pitcher, maybe like your 7th, and you throw him out there, and see where the season goes with the kid. He's only going to be, 23 years old next year. Maybe we get lucky and the Pirates move him as well because he's not going to win many games there. But I think he could help you in ERA. I think he could help you in whip if he gets everything going. He's got a good pitch mix. So, that's that. I got him as, like I said, in the 70s there. That's my number 72 starting pitcher. I just think you take him as one of your last guys and you go from there.
Yeah, dart throws are always great at Pirates. That's how I feel about it. Because unless he gets traded, then he'll be phenomenal and then I'll draft him a lot higher. But until then, I just need that Garrett Cole effect, essentially. But let's move on.
Exactly.
I got the former Rookie of the Year here, and that's Mr. Jonathan India. Jonathan India had a bad season last year, honestly, after having a phenomenal rookie season. And he was riddled with injuries and whatnot, but still it just was not a Jonathan India season that we expected coming on to year 2 after having that great 2021 season. And let me just read it off real quick what he did in 2022 and 2021. In 2022, he had 386 at-bats. He had 48 runs. He had 16 doubles, 2 triples, 10 home runs, 41 ribbies. He batted .249. Now, that's very down in terms of what I'm about to read you in 2021. He had 532 at-bats, 98 runs, 34 doubles, 2 triples, just like this year, 21 home runs, and batted .269. Now, that's a steep difference. It's really been cut in half. And to be completely honest, I'm hoping he returns to form. Hopefully he figures out his injury stuff and, he's not dealing with some phalanges and whatnot. And we could see him return to fame here because I think the kid's really good. I think for the Reds, I think that ultimately he's their future. He's going to be him and Ellie De La Cruz. Jeff just got a Woody just for me saying it just now. But I think that team is an up-and-coming team, short porch, a lot of good young talent. I think they're going to be good, and I think that if Jonathan India can bounce back, he's actually going to be very good for fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, where do you got? Did you say we have him ranked, man, or did I miss that?
I did not, and I could tell you in 2 seconds.
So
India, I actually have pretty high. Funny enough, I have him at number 10 overall at second base. But again, second base is pretty putrid. So, but I'm also kind of okay with having him at my second base with that upside. Worst case, I'll just stream the position. Or if, Mr. Victor gets second base eligibility. That's Victor Vargas, just for everybody's information.
Miguel Vargas?
Miguel Vargas. Boy? Yeah, my bad. It's been a long day.
Oh, Lord, Matt. That's your boy, too. Damn, I gotta get in contact with Mr. Miguel Vargas and tell him that you forgot his name, my brother. But that is a big rumor. Let's throw that out there while we're on the subject. Let's just throw it out there for the fans. So if you guys listen to us, you know who Miguel Vargas is because that's Matt's boy. The rumor is that Miguel Vargas might get second base eligibility because he's gonna possibly get the opportunity to start at second base for the Los Angeles Dodgers this season. But with that being said, let me give you my 2 cents on Jonathan India, and then we'll keep it pushing here. I got Jonathan India at number 12. Last year he was dealing with, I believe it was a hamstring issue, and it kind of something like that can linger all year long. Let's hope, Johnny Boy gets it going this year, and he could be a 5-tool guy, especially if that Reds team, around him is good for the counting stats. Could give you around 20 bombs, chip in over 10 steals. Batting average, let's see, he's a career .260 hitter right now. So let's see where that goes for the kid. And I just want to see if I could give you guys where he's going right now in NFBC ADP over the next month. Over the last month. So actually, it looks like you can get him at a bargain right now. Yeah. Right now, Jonathan India, 14th second baseman, 180th pick. I think that's a steal. So we're going to go to our next guy here. And let's, Matt, you want me to take it? You want me to just keep going here and talk about Hunter Greene for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, brother. So Hunter Greene, guys, once again, I believe we talked about him, and I don't know if it was our Rising Stars episode or if it was our Pitchers to Target episode, but Matt and I gave a nice little Hunter Greene rant in that one. And I know it's going to be a pain for me to get this going, but I got to do it here. I want to give you how he finished the season last year because I just have to talk about it. Hunter Greene finished the year on a tear, an absolute tear. So he had a game on July 4th against the Mets. He gave up 6 runs, right? But after that, the kid just took off. So it was 8 starts after that one, from July 9th to October 8th, 8 starts for Hunter Greene. 46 innings, 66 Ks, 1.75 ERA, and that whip was absolutely beautiful. It was right at 0.99. So Hunter Greene's got that elite fastball. He throws gas. He's working on, some of those breaking pitches from what I've heard. And he's still only going to be 23 years old this year. I have him ranked. Let's see where I got him ranked, gentlemen. I know I'm kind of high on him. I don't know if I'm higher than most of the industry, but I have him ranked as my number 45 starting pitcher. I think he's a little bit of a ballsy pick, but I'm super high on him this year. I could see myself taking him as my starting pitcher 4. If you can get him as your starting pitcher 5, I think that's an absolute steal. Let me just see if I can get that ADP for you guys. Yeah, 42 over the last month. NFBC ADP, pick 114. So that's where you got to take him if you want you some Hunter Greene in your life.
Yeah, buddy, I got him at 43, so I'm right on par with ADP. So, but let's talk about another guy that's phenomenal on the Reds, and that's a pitcher as well. That's going to be Mr. Nick Lodolo. So if you guys were listening last year, I was all over Nick Lodolo from the jump. I said that you need to scoop him up and you need to get him quick because this kid's going to be a talent and a half. And I was right. Through 103 innings pitched, he had 131 strikeouts, a 1.248 whip, which is a little bit on the high side, but I think that comes down this year if he gets a little bit more control. He had a 3.66 ERA with 4 Ws. So, I mean, to be completely honest, this kid is doing all the things that are on my first year in the bigs pitcher checklist, right? Got a low mid-3 ERA. Whip's kind of high, but that is what it is, and that's usually a little trademark for these kind of guys. And the K per 9 is much higher than it needs to be, than average. So that is all the checklist for somebody that's going to build on that for the next year and be dominant next year. I really have big faith in him. He's a little bit lower in my rankings than Hunter Greene, but he's not too far off. I actually have him in pitcher number 50, so that's like your 4th, 5th-ish pitcher in a 12-man league, depending on how the draft falls to you. I think he's going to be a great, great, great addition on your team this year.
Yeah, Matt. I'm fairly high on Nick Lodolo too. I got him at 51. NFBC ADP over the last month's pitcher 50, pick 128. Lodolo's good. He had a great minor league career. Whip, as you said, Whip was a little bit high last year. I think the thing is he's got great stuff. He leads with that sinker, right? And the sinker is very good. He actually throws fairly hard too. He's approaching 95 miles an hour on that fastball. I think if he gets that sinker down a little bit, throws that fastball a little bit more, we're going to see a very dominant starting pitcher. You go out there and try and get him as like your SP5, SP4 is once again a little bullish on a guy like Lodolo, but you can go out there and do it, So we're going to head into our last team here. And if you guys haven't seen already, got the Cubs gear on here going. And it's a Kris Bryant jersey. Kris Bryant's my guy. Just got to throw a little love for my boy KB. But with that being said, right, let's dive right into the Chicago Cubs outlook from this year. And we're going to start with a newly acquired player from them, and that's Mr. Dansby Swanson, right? Now, if you guys had Dansby last year, he was an absolute unit of a player in that Braves lineup. He hit 277. He had, he had 277 and he played all 162 games, 99 runs, 25 bombs, 96 RBIs, 18 steals. Now, here's the thing, right? Those counting stats are probably going to come down. It's the Chicago Cubs. I know they're trying to put a team together where, things could go right. If everything goes right, maybe things work out for Dansby Swanson. They did pick up Cody Bellinger. Let's see how he does. They got Matt Mervis coming up. We'll talk about him on our prospect episode. They picked up Trey Mancini. They got Ian Happ, and they got a decent team. But Dansby Swanson is coming off the board as the number 9 shortstop right now, NFBC ADP over the last month. Pick 78. That's a little bit high for my blood. I got Dansby ranked at number 16 shortstop for me right now, and that's just because this shortstop's deep. A lot of guys I like over him that I would, take. But Dansby could be a 5-tool guy. So if he's your guy, I'm not going to blame you. It's just not somebody. He's not somebody I'm really reaching for this year.
Yeah, buddy, I'm right on par with you. I got him as my 14th overall shortstop. I'm not too happy with the landing spot, truthfully. Let's get this last guy in. Yeah. Mr. Japanese sensation over here, Mr. Seiya Suzuki. He came in last year with, like a bat out of hell, and then he just dealt with some injuries. But in that time that he actually did play, he actually was pretty impressive. He had 397 at bats. He batted 260. He had a 262 average. He had 14 home runs, 54 runs, 46 ribbies. And I mean, what more can you ask for the guy for the first time in the bigs coming over from the Japanese league? I think that he's going to be building on it. Luckily, there is other talent in the league now, unlike last year. So, having Dansby in the lineup, probably hitting in front of him, and with Cody Bellinger now in the lineup as well, I think that there's some possibility for those counting stats to rise just a tad. I'm not drafting him too high. I'm not super bullish on him. He's still, something. Actually, I have him pretty damn high. I have him at 23. So never mind. I forget sometimes, guys. Yeah, I got him high. You know what it is? It's just I'm a fan of Seiya. He's probably going to fall now that I'm looking at my rankings again. It's been about a week or two. Probably moving down more like to 29, right under Jock Peterson, which is kind of a little bit more appropriate. Still like your outfielder 3, but I still feel like it's an appropriate spot, being that outfield is really not as great as it used to be. We're going to have an influx of talent come once after our prospect episode. But yeah, that's really about it on Seiya for me.
Yeah, man, I'm just going to chime in and say I got him as my 33rd outfielder. So if you do move him down, we're a little bit closer. He is could wind up being a 5.2 guy. He did hit for average in the Japanese league when he was out there. So, and, he's got steal some bases, 14 bombs in 111 games, could get you 20 plus bombs. But right now in ADP for the NFBC over the last month, 26th outfielder for Seiya Suzuki, pick 106. I would do it. I would take the risk. You get him as your number 3 outfielder, and you could be happy about it. But guys, that's going to be it for us today. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, comment, rate, review. And thanks for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Come back tomorrow. We'll be breaking down the NL West. And guys, one last thing. If you enjoy our episode, our podcast in general, make sure you make your second listen every day. Locked On MLB Prospects, hosted by our colleague Lindsay. Once again, he is a mastermind with the prospects. And I'll get to let you guys know, if you listen this far, you get a little surprise. We're actually going to have Lindsay on for our prospect episode, so make sure you tune in for that as well. But until next time, see you.
Peace.